So today we are going to be talking about uh, effective ways that you can turn your leads into actual clients. Because what is the point really of a lead if it doesn't turn into any money? So we are going to look at how you do that. Just a quick little introduction. My name is Hunter Meek. I'm the marketing director here at Pipeline ROI. There's my ugly mug. And my email address if you want to tell me how ugly my mug is. So here at Pipeline ROI, we have created a complete inbound marketing platform for real estate pros and mortgage pros as well. Really, ultimately, it's built to help you kind of automate parts of and make parts easier of your whole marketing workflow. So your lead generation, lead nurturing, and then ultimately getting those things to close. And we have tried to make it as easy as possible for you to do the best marketing that you possibly can. Just a quick little overview of what we preach and practice here at Pipeline ROI. So if you've heard of inbound marketing, it's really this idea of bringing people to you as opposed to just blasting everybody with everything and that kind of outbound ideology that's kind of been popular for so long. We've seen a shift towards people really consuming what they want to consume and blocking out what they're not asking for, what they don't want. And so to be effective in marketing, we've kind of come up with this wheel, I guess you could call it here. That's really the method to generate, capture, nurture, and then close more leads. So the idea basically, you want to generate good content that positions you as the expert. You want to promote that everywhere that you can. You got to have a way to capture those leads. Then what we're going to be talking about today, the nurturing part of it, you want to move them down the funnel, move them along the path, and get them to what I'm going to assume is probably your favorite stage there, which is closing. And then the analyze part of it is really just looking at how each piece of that is working along the way and working on improving every one of those steps by seeing what works and what doesn't. The problem that we're going to talk about today, the leads that you work so hard to generate or spend good hard-earned money to buy, in some cases, never actually become clients or turn into revenue. This is not an uncommon problem. I think obviously if you're here, you've probably experienced that, and I'm willing to say that anybody who is doing any kind of lead generation and marketing has experienced that. So you're trying to get a lead from point A to point B, essentially. The question is, how do you move them along that path and through the funnel to the closing stage? This is even harder in real estate as opposed to other industries with, shorter sales cycles, easier decisions. For instance, one of my weaknesses, I guess you could say, would be sneakers. It's not a real lead nurturing situation, right? So Finish Line or Foot Locker, whatever, they don't have to work me for 6 months to get me to buy a new pair of $100 tennis shoes. It's a lot quicker decision. It might be one email, hey, these are new, here's a discount on it, and I buy them right then. I mean, and there's you can use any example in that situation, but real estate, this is a serious life decision, right? I mean, this is a big deal. It takes time. People have to get prepared. They don't want to rush into it. There's no such thing as an impulse buy in real estate, really. So the leads journey, I've got to decide that I want to buy a home and or sell mine. I've got to make some decisions on what neighborhood do I want to look at? What am I going to be able to spend? What's my, how am I going to get financing? What kind of features are we looking for? Who should I use as my agent? Should I try to sell my house by myself? Um, all these decisions that we've got to make, and finally I start looking, and I make these smaller decisions along the way. Maybe I decide, well, yeah, we do need 4 bedrooms. Small decisions like that to work my way up to this final decision of picking. First of all, picking who I want to work with as an agent, and then picking the home that I actually want to buy. Um, I'm going to assume that you all know what this picture feels like right here. If you weren't all muted, I feel like I'd probably hear an amen or two. You think about this with your process as far as getting a lead or getting a house sold, I guess you could say. The idea is a smooth transaction, right? Somebody finds what they want, uh, puts in a full asking offer on it, it's accepted, and you move on. But that is very rarely the reality. It's usually much more complex than that. There's hurdles along the way. There's difficulties. It's the same story with your leads, right? So uh, ideally, yes, someone searches Google, sees your site, hits it, sees a listing they like, they contact you immediately. They've already got their financing stuff squared away, they're ready to offer, and boom, you go look at it, it's done, and uh, your check is on the way. But how often does it happen like that? I'm going to say usually more often than not, it is a little uh, more difficult of a road than that. You could look at it this way as well. So the lead nurturing process, they're going to see things from you, or they should see things from you all along the way, right? So they might see your Facebook page or see a post from you on social media somewhere. They might find your website on Google. They might sign up for your newsletter and then start getting some emails from you. But all along this way, it's it's not a smooth road, and you have to make sure that you are there um, at every step of that journey so that they when it's time to make that decision, you're the first person they think of. They feel comfortable trusting you to guide them through the process. So lead nurturing, what we're talking about today, it's just the process of developing and growing these relationships with buyers and sellers to move them towards your desired outcome. It should be, here's your 3 keys: targeted, timely, and valuable. We're going to look at each one of those a little bit more in depth real quick and move on. So key 1, targeted. One size fits all. Somebody there in that picture is going to get left out, right? There's not really such thing, especially in lead nurturing. You can't just set up one drip email campaign that everybody gets and expect it to work for everybody. The first time buyer, you're going to give them, or you should give them, different information than you're going to give somebody who's maybe looking to downsize, maybe somebody who's relocating. There could be 10 bullets up here, right? I mean, there's a lot of different situations, and each one is somewhat unique. But within each one of those, you can sort of narrow down what kinds of content do these people want, what do they need, what are they looking for, and how can I provide that to them. Are you segmenting your leads in any way? If you have any kind of CRM, if you have some lead nurturing stuff set up at all yet, do you have different campaigns for these different people? It also depends on what kind of houses they're looking for. Somebody comes to your site and saves a search for, you know, homes that are in the $200,000 range. That's what you're going to want to send them, right? It's not going to do you much good to put them on a drip email campaign where they're getting listings that include houses that are $400,000 or $500,000, right? It's a waste of their time, and you're not going to move them along through that funnel. So examples of targeted messages: somebody who's relocating, messages about your local community, attractions in the area, neighborhoods. You can offer to answer any questions they might have. You can link to places like the local Chamber of Commerce, which always has you know, some good information that they might need, they might want. The first time buyer, this was me not long ago, a couple of years ago. You know, there's all kinds of information that you can provide that a first-time homebuyer is going to find very valuable. It's kind of an intimidating process. You know I had a lot of questions. There were a lot of things that that people assume that may just not be true, and if you can show them the truth, you will gain their trust. You will gain, or you will show them value. Loan programs, right? Some people think, you know, I mean, maybe, well, I'm not going to be able to even buy a house if, you know, if I can't come up with 20% down, and, you know, and the kind of house I'm trying to look at, that's 60 grand, you know, I don't even know if I can do this. Well, there might be some programs that you can let them know about, that they can research, and just some reassurance to help them see that you're a professional, you're an expert in this, you will guide them down this path, and that they're not going to be doing it on their own, and that's hugely important. Sellers, obviously that's different messaging. Usually the number one question is like, what can I get for my house? You know, what's my house worth? But other things like home staging tips, things that they can think about, anything that's going to help them. You want to be the one to provide that, right? And so then they'll come to you with the questions that you can answer. An ebook, something like 7 Reasons Your Home Isn't Selling. Maybe their house has been sitting on the market. They're wondering why, so they start Googling it. Well, they find your site. They find this ebook with some tips about why your house may not be selling, and then that starts that discussion, right? You guys can start talking about that. For sale by owner, a lot of people have questions about that. Maybe, you know, think maybe I can do this on my own. Just providing them some information about here's why it's difficult. Here's what I can do that's going to help you through this process. Key number 2, timely. So good lead nurturing is timely. What does timely mean? Fast for one thing, consistent. Do you respond to 100% of your leads? I think you would actually be surprised to hear that lots of people don't. Whether they've paid for them, whether they've done the work to generate the leads, sometimes they literally do not ever contact them. Maybe they attempt once, they don't get in touch with the person, they never try again, they move on. This Harvard Business Review study of these companies said that 37% responded within an hour. That's really good. And the one that shocks me there, though, is that 23% never even responded at all. Man, that's a lot of potential business that you could have lost just because you didn't email a person back or call them back or text them back. You can't afford to let business like that slip through the cracks, especially if you're spending the time and money to get those leads in the first place. Do you have autoresponders set up for your different lead generation tactics? Do you have text, message, or email autoresponders? Do you manually try to follow up with every single lead? Do you have a combination of the both? In my opinion, that's probably what's best. So also from another study similar to the one we just looked at, said that basically these companies that would try to contact a new lead within an hour were 7 times more likely to qualify that lead. than even an hour later, and more than 60 times as likely as the companies that waited, a day to contact them. If you get an email at 3 o'clock this afternoon, when is that person going to hear something back from you? If they email you to ask about a listing, if they call you and you weren't able to get to the phone, how quickly do you respond to that message? Your chances of this person becoming a client start going down pretty rapidly, pretty fast. You got to make sure to stay on top of that stuff. I know it's hard. I know you guys are busy. You have a lot going on, but you just, like we said, you can't let that slip through the cracks. And this honestly, so this study was from 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, how much more do you think we've gotten used to this instant gratification? As whether that's good or bad, we expect responses quickly. We have gotten accustomed to being able to get the information we want very fast. And if that doesn't happen, we're quick to move on to the next option, right? And not to, I mean, just to be honest, there are lots of agents probably in your area, right? I mean, you're probably not the only one around there that somebody can ask about a house. If you wait too long, somebody may just contact another agent, and potentially you've lost not just a lead, but a check. So not just the speed in your response time, but consistency, right? So as we said, this is a big decision. It's a longer lead cycle. You do not want to drop off of their radar or let them drop of your radar. It takes lots of touches sometimes. You can't expect, somebody who's starting to think about maybe buying a home, you can't expect to email them once or twice and then maybe 6 months later, all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're going to call you up. Okay, I'm ready. You've got to keep those touches consistent. They've got to be reminded that you're here, that you're ready to help, that you can answer their questions. And if you're not doing that, you're risking the the possibility that somebody else is doing that. And well, they got an email from you 4 months ago, but they got an email from John yesterday. Well, who are they probably going to remember? Lots of channels too, right? So it's not just email, social media, on the phone. I mean, give somebody a call, give somebody a text. So like we said in key one, targeted, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get some generic leads, right? And I'm not talking necessarily about the tire kickers, right? So there are some people that just might hit your site and go look at what's the most expensive house in our town or in the state. That's, we're just going to kind of discount that, right? Okay, that's me at the Ferrari dealership. I'm not a legitimate lead for those people. They probably are not going to waste much time on me when I roll up there. But aside from that, there are some kind of generic top of funnel leads. It's somebody that, they've been in their house a certain number of years or something. They think, I would like to upgrade at some point in the future. It's not really in my near future. But you want to make sure that they are getting something from you. If you don't know a lot about them necessarily, it's good to have something like newsletters, community information, some market trends about your local area, something that you can get to them to, as we said, stay top of mind, so that when they do get to the point that they're going to get serious about that, you are the person that they think of as knowing this area and able to help them do what they want to do. Key three, so you want to deliver value at every step, right? So we all get tons of emails. We see marketing everywhere. It's getting quicker and easier to get rid of the things that we don't find valuable to us. In this case, if you're thinking about email marketing, it's pretty easy to just click the unsubscribe link, right? I mean, if you're sending me, I don't know, stuff that's not relevant to me and that I don't see any value in, I'm just probably going to unsubscribe. Okay, well at that point it's going to be a little hard to nurture that person if you can't even really contact them anymore. But what is valuable, right? It's different for different people. Like we talked about with the first key being targeted, it's going to be, value is going to be relative, right? So somebody that is interested in buying in the near future, you want, I mean, what's the most valuable info they can get? Probably listings. I mean, they want to look at what's available. Market information is important to some people. Local content, seeing that you're an actual member of this community, you care about your area, you know what's going on, you're an active part of your community. Buying and selling process information. So a lot of people don't, as I said, you know, I recently bought my first home and I didn't know a whole lot about it, you know, leading up to that decision, and so I had a lot of questions, questions about financing, all of those things that you can really be a trusted source of information for people, and people appreciate that. Testimonials and reviews. This is important. I personally, I like to read reviews of things and ask other people and see if I can find examples of other people doing things before I jump into something. If you have some lead nurturing messages set up, whether it's email or if it's something on your website, something on your social media, that shows real people just like this potential client, this lead, that have worked with you and loved working with you and have nothing but good things to say, and how much you helped them through the process, people find that very valuable in their decision-making process. So I'm going to run through some of these stats real quick that just kind of back up why it's so important to have these lead nurturing programs set up. So first-time buyer, this is from the 2017 NAR Home Buyer and Seller Generational Trends Report. So first-time buyers were 35% of all home buyers, which is an increase from last year. Those first-time buyers, they need some information. I'm just telling you from personal experience. They need your expertise, but if you're not offering it, you know, they may not always even know what they don't know, right? So they might have some specific questions, but you might be able to bring up some things they need to know that they had not even thought of yet. Buyers 36 and younger is the largest generational group of home buyers, and guess what we do? I'm in that group. Guess what we do? We check our phones a million times a day. It's dumb, but we do it. We look at social media. We check our email. We're in the places where you need to have these messages. And like we said with the long sales cycle, buyers typically searched for 10 weeks, looked at 10 homes. It's a long process. You can't expect a lead to turn into money in a week every time. It's just not going to happen. You have to stick with the effort that you're making to give them the information they need. 88% of all buyers used an agent, and again in that 36 and under group it was 92%. We're using somebody, okay? We are using a real estate agent. Is it going to be you if I haven't gotten any information from you? Probably not. Finding the right home was what the majority of buyers said that they wanted their agents help with. Also negotiating, you know, terms. That was kind of my big thing. I didn't understand a lot of the contract situation and all of that, and our agent was a huge help in that, and we appreciated it. Understanding the purchase process, 74% of this youngest group needs help understanding that stuff. Referrals are huge, you know that already, and especially in this youngest group that's buying the most homes, up from last year. How do you get referrals? Well, ask people to refer you. You know, um, those leads that you're working with that you end up helping purchase or sell. That should be one of your lead nurturing emails. Hey, really appreciate working with you. Make sure and let any of your friends or family or anybody know that I'd love to help them too, and love getting referrals. There is no harm in asking. That many times they're not just gonna come up with that on their own and go be your biggest promoter without you reminding them that you appreciate that and that that's a good idea. Working with an agent that is honest and trustworthy was most important for buyers. Are your lead nurturing messages, are your interactions reassuring them that you are honest and trustworthy? If not, they should be. So 7 in 10 buyers only talk to one agent during their search. I mean, no pressure, right? But like, you might have one shot at it. If they contact you and they don't hear back from you for 48 hours, maybe they found somebody else already and they did talk to them. Well, they're working with them now. That's very common. Do not, I feel like a broken record. I know I've said this a bunch of times. You can't let those leads slip through the cracks. 88% of buyers would use their agent or recommend them to somebody else. For the most part, everybody's having good experiences. They liked working with you. They would tell somebody else about it. Just remind them to do it, right? I hear this a lot, and I understand it, and I believe it to an extent. I'm too busy to do all this. How can I segment all of my leads and get them all different information, and how am I going to write all these emails and get these texts out, and etc.? Well, a lot of it can be automated, right? So there's email autoresponders, text autoresponders. There's pre-made drip campaigns. We're going to talk about that just very briefly here in a second. There is a little work to it, okay? You can't automate the entire thing beginning to end. There's a little prep work ahead of time, deciding who's going to get what and setting it up. But then, do what you can. I think a good combination of these things is having autoresponders that make sure there's a quick or immediate touch to a new lead, but then also follow it up with something a lot more personal and unique. Most of us can kind of tell if it's an autoresponder that we get, and that's okay, but make sure and follow that up with something that's a little more tailored to them. So I'm not going to give you guys a big sales pitch here, but I do want to say Pipeline ROI does a lot of this stuff. And when it comes to lead nurturing, we have a part of our product is called Promoter. You can set up automated campaigns for all of your different segments: buyers, sellers, relocating, first-time buyers, whatever it may be. We have content in there already. You, of course, can customize that and should customize that. You can come up with your own stuff, but you can also automate a lot of it. You can say new leads that come in from this page about relocating, well, drop them into the relocating email campaign that I have set up, and they'll start getting that. You don't have to go manually put them in there and then write the emails and do all that. You can set it up and get that automation going. Sorry, I also wanted to mention there's in this month, if you get started before the end of the month, you can get 20% off the price of our whole platform, and it's everything. I mean, it's website, IDX, lead management, the email drip campaigns, all of this stuff, social media management and automation. You can schedule out your social media posts that you want to go out, and not necessarily have to remember to do that every single day. It's pretty nice. There's just kind of a few example pieces from our Promoter product. There's all kinds of stuff in there. Like I said, you're not starting from scratch. A lot of agents, they want to set something like this up, so they'll go, get, you know, a MailChimp account or Constant Contact or something. Okay, I'm going to set up these email campaigns, and then get in there and realize that they're staring at a blank page. Well, shoot, yeah, you've got to come up with all the content. We've done a lot of that heavy lifting for you. We've written emails. We've set up so that one at the bottom there, if somebody you know, saves a search for a certain area, price range, whatever it is, you can set up automated emails that go to them that show them, hey, here's new listings that match what you were searching on the site. Check out the check out the details of it. Let me know if you want to see it. There's monthly newsletters. There's all kinds of stuff in there for you to use that really help you accomplish this without a ton of manual effort. Hopefully, since we were, as I mentioned earlier, since we were talking about providing value, hopefully this has been helpful to you in some way, whether it was just an idea for something you got, maybe the motivation to start responding to every lead immediately, following up with them more consistently for a longer period of time. Hopefully you got a little bit of value out of this, and you will also see an email from me later on with a recording of this and a little more information, some examples of actual lead nurturing emails. And if you don't, then I have failed you, but you will. I appreciate all of you guys being here with us today. We're right at actually we're a couple minutes over. I did the best I could. You guys all enjoy your day. I appreciate it. You can absolutely call or email us here if you have any questions. And I appreciate you guys being here. And we will do another one of these again soon on another topic, and hopefully you can join us for that as well. Thanks, guys.